Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in this series from Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford using Castle Art Gold pencils. Now I am going to continue where I left off yesterday with these leaves, and I've grabbed the lavender and I'm going to be colouring the rest of the leaf in lavender. Now what I'm going to do with each one, just to make it simpler, I'm going to colour over the top of this central bit that I've already coloured, and I'm going to try and fade the colour from base to tip if I can get that to work. I'm just going to have a go and see what happens. I will come in very slightly closer. Oops, let's just need to push my book. Right. Bear with me. There we go. So a little bit closer. Just fiddling around with some pencils that I've got out ready. There we go. Yes, following on from what I was saying yesterday, I was talking about deafness actually, mainly towards the end. What my sister had said to me was that she sometimes, just sharpening my pencil, her family sometimes she will ask a question to her husband, her children, whatever, and they will answer, and then she will ask exactly the same question very quickly after, and having forgotten that she'd both asked it and forgotten the answer. Now I was saying, oh, is it because you can't hear their answer? And she said, well, no, because I'm not saying what, it's a bit strange. And her husband said he thinks she's got some sort of processing disorder in her brain. I was like, oh my goodness, that sounds a bit severe. And I said to her, I have never noticed you do that when you're with me, and it's definitely not something that you did when growing up or anything like that, so it's obviously a recent thing. So then I just had a think and a look, and I went, you know what it is? It's menopause. I said, short-term memory problems are so common in menopause. I said, that's what it is. I said, just don't worry about it, it will go away. And actually I looked at some research online on memory loss in women, and interestingly, you would expect that our memories will get worse as we get older, but with women that isn't the case. When they go through menopause, their memories get worse and then it improves again. It can, obviously, as you get then older, it may deteriorate. It didn't have all of the figures, but basically yes, once you get through menopause, your memory improves again. So I told her this. I hope she felt better. Although she was a little distracted today because she had to take her husband to the hospital for some teeth to be removed. But I think they've done it now and it's done, so he'll be recovering. And I think he had a sedative. She said she was finding him a little bit tricky to deal with, but trying to get through to him, make him understand things. In the end, she tried to make him go to sleep, and hoping it would sleep all the effects off. It's quite interesting. She said she thought it would make he would be quite unconscious, but he was actually quite aware of what was going on, which she was surprised about. But I guess it depends how much you have and what tolerance level you are to it and things like that. I know when I had one I was completely out, but then maybe they gave me more. I didn't have the same sort of procedure, so it's I don't know. But anyway, hopefully he'll be on his way to recovery, because he's been in a lot of pain and discomfort, and also it's been having an impact on her, obviously, as it would. There we go, coming along. I prefer them white than with this background pink, but I think it will work better, it will blend in. Although the stars are white, it could have worked. But anyway, I'm carrying on. Yes, so that was that. I'm trying to think. Oh, I was watching. What was I watching yesterday? Oh, the Olympic football. I didn't watch the match, but I watched the. There was a Morocco-Argentina game. The goal. Wow! You must watch if you can watch. If you can get hold of coverage, it was amazing. What happened was Morocco. Now, Argentina are very good at football, soccer. This is. and but Morocco, who aren't seen to be good, although they're qualified, so which we didn't, and so you know, and nor did our women qualify. Anyway, the Morocco were winning, and they were 2-1 up, and there were 3 minutes left. This is the Purple Lake Deep, and I'm going to do these. I've just noticed that that one there is different, and I'm just looking at that. Oh, that's a leaf. That's no, that one there isn't striped, and all the others are. I think I'm gonna. Not sure yet. I'm going to do all the others first. I'm going to come in closer because I'm going to do a little bit of something a bit more interesting than just... I'm going to do it a bit like I did the leaves. I'll show you. So a light layer, excuse me, like that, and then, oh, I'm so hot, just fade towards that line like that. So fade this way, it's a bit easier. On these bits you can see properly. Like that. Just gives it a bit of interest. You don't have to do it like that. You can just block it in. Do it striped, whatever you want. Anyway, so the football. So 3 minutes left and Argentina score. Now they don't just score. They score, well, someone tries to get a goal. The goalie saves it, then another player, but the goalie just punches it out of the way and falls down. Another Argentinian gets hold of the ball on his foot, kicks it towards the goal, it hits the crossbar and the side post and rebounds back. Then another guy has a go, he kicks it, hits the crossbar and bounces back, and then someone heads it into the goal. The Moroccan crowd are absolutely devastated. They set off so many flares you can't see across the pitch. Then they throw all sorts of bottles and things onto the pitch and hit even their own players with them. I mean, they're plastic, but even so. And so get riot police onto the pitch, evacuate the stadium, and then they re-look at the goal using the VAR, which is the virtual assistant referee. So basically they look at a replay. I don't know why they don't just call it a replay, but you know, it's football, who knows. And the guy who scored the goal was offside, so the goal didn't even count. And so after an hour and the stadium's clear, they played the last 3 minutes of the match with no crowd, and Argentina aren't able to score, so Morocco win. Now they haven't, because it's just the group stages, it's very early on, you know, it's just one match, but the fact that they beat Argentina is like unprecedented. It's amazing. So that was that. I didn't see the match, as I say. I haven't been watching. I know there's going to be a lot to watch later, so I'm sort of getting on with some work rather than being distracted by it. Tomorrow I'll be watching the opening ceremony. It starts up at 6 though, so it's an evening. Not normally recording in the evening, and I can watch it while I'm doing other bits and pieces. Sometimes it gets a bit long and boring, but I've got hope this time that maybe it won't, but we'll see. But I've also been making I had great fun this morning actually making something for you. You may have seen it already. It was an index colouring sheet for Magical World, so for Johanna's new book. Because when I watched her flip through, she named some of the pages. She sort of went, oh, this is a Candyland, or this is a crazy octopus sea monster, or whatever. So I thought, oh. So I rewatched the video and I noted down all of the names that she had given to the pages, so I could make you a colouring index page sheet. I'm going to use the Mauve Deep for this one because we haven't used that one, and you know, it feels like I should use it. So I'm just gonna make it quite dark here and then reduce it towards the tip. So I've put together a sheet. I haven't finished it yet. Okay, background. I'm going to use the yellow that I used. Was it Terracotta Light? Let me check. Yeah, Terracotta Light. Where are you? Where is it in my... Oh, it's down here by the brand. I'll get there in a minute. Bear with me, sorry. There it is. So I'm going to use the Terracotta Light for the background of this bottom bit. I will come back out so you can see the whole thing. It's not going to be very exciting colouring, but I shall colour it on camera still. Whoop. If I can get my book to move. The problem with having a limited space under the camera is that you tend to... I have to put the book underneath my pencil case sometimes to fit everything on the desk. So I'm just going to do a sort of medium pressure so that it just looks yellow like the windows. Now you don't have to do it this way. Oh, can hear my neighbour making a lot of noise. It sounds like he's using a blender, or I can never tell if it's a blender or a drill. I'm sure they sound the same because he sometimes makes smoothies and things, but he's also does a lot of DIY. This could be either. This is a really big background area. I had toyed with the idea of using soft pastels, but then it won't match the rest sort of thing, and I thought they might just make a mess. It'd be very hard to stay in the lines with those. I wouldn't be so worried if it went over this bit, but over that line. Now I was hoping to keep that border light, so that's what I'm going to do. Got our camel next door I'm just looking at. He's in next year's planner, so, or this year's planner. This year's planner, I think. So I'll be doing him soon enough. I've done him before a second time. It's in the postcard book, I wonder. I'm managing to smudge the green into it here, which wasn't the intention, but that's the price you pay for having a nice soft blendable pencil, is that it just blends everything. So right, be careful. Anyway, I'm just going over a few bits that I think look a little bit light. There we go. It's quite dull today. I haven't had to shut the blind from the sun. I think we're supposed to have sunny days for a week after today, so I'm just enjoying the fact that it's cooler and not sunny. We went out this morning and it was raining, but I put a Mac on. It was very muggy. I was very sweaty in my Mac. It's horrible. And then I felt really exhausted when I got home. My legs, as I was getting towards home, my legs were wobbly, jelly-like, you know. I was like, ooh, this is new. But I think I have had it before. I'm sure it's dehydration because I didn't have a drink before I went out. I had my breakfast, a drink with my breakfast, but I hadn't had another drink, and I think I was probably just dehydrated. I came back and had a drink, and I had something to eat actually. And took me about an hour before I started to feel better, and then I was fine. And then it was lunchtime, so I had some more to eat and more to drink. And then I came to record and I'm feeling absolutely perfectly fine now. So I know it was certainly nothing to worry about, but I think the mixture of being dehydrated and the hot and muggy weather was, you know, not having enough drink, and just wasn't right. I've had it before, and yeah, it's always... I'm usually very careful since having it and thinking about it and what might have caused it to make sure that I do have a drink before I go out. But there we go. So anyway, this is all good. I'm all good now. We saw someone we knew in the street, much to the boys' annoyance because I took them both with me. Well, one was, we went out to pick up my son's prescription, so although although I can pick up his prescriptions. He did it. Well, I make him do it. He's got to get used to it. He's going to have them probably be on it for the rest of his life. He's got to get used to going to pick it up. And he could sign the back of the form because he doesn't pay, so he has to sign the form. Partly when you're under 19 and you're in full-time education, you don't have to pay, but he's also got an exemption certificate due to his condition, because he'll need medication. I don't know if all conditioners don't need medication all the time, get free prescription. I've got no idea, but anyway, I feel very I'm very grateful that he has that, and so he can do that. His prescriptions these days, what are they, about £10 each, and he probably has them I think they usually give you 2 months supply of meds, so you know, £5 a month. And actually this one he's got now is quite complicated because there are different types of meds on there because he's changing, and the prescription is usually only, you pay per item, so he might have had to pay twice for that one. So, oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups now. Oh. So, tips for trying to keep the background smooth. Mine isn't. So, if you use the circular motion like this when you're colouring, and keep overlapping what you're doing, like that. Can you see I haven't got lines now like I have here? I'm doing it this way though. So that's one tip, but it's slower, so I'm just trying to get through it really. Another idea is to go back over. So see here, this patch here looks a bit pale, so when I say I'm just tidying it up, I'm just going to go over that bit, and then this bit that's a bit pale, and then this bit that's a little bit pale. So I'm specifically targeting areas that look a little bit pale, and it looks a bit neater. It's not perfect, but nothing is. Doing several layers helps. Some people say go in one direction then the other direction. I've tried that. I'm not convinced that really works that well. I think just layering it up enough so that you cover all the white paper is really the key to getting it looking right. And doing a smaller area is easier to keep neat than a bigger area. You see up here it doesn't look so bad as here where we've got a big area. But it's just sort of persevering, going over bits that don't look neat and things like that, and you'll get there. And other things you can try are a blending pencil, which can move the pencil around a bit to even it out or to even burnish it into the paper. There are lots of different brands. What have I got? I've got Caran d'Ache, I've got Prismacolor, I've got Derwent, I've got Staedtler. I know Lyra Splendor Blender exists. I couldn't get that to work on anything, but some people swear by it, so I don't know what I was doing wrong. You can blend with tissue. You can blend with blending solutions like Zest It or what's the American one? Gamasol. Is that right? I don't know. Anyway. And you can use Q-tips or cotton buds. You can use a white pencil. Or there are lots and lots of different ways of doing it. And people seem to prefer different methods. Some people, I prefer not doing it. No, sometimes I do it. It depends what sort of finish I'm after. Like, I actually find that trying to get a solid background, which is what I'm trying to do here, I find that is the hardest thing that I've ever found with colouring, is to get something even and solid. Now, the best way to get an even solid background is to use a pen. Paint pen though, not a felt tip pen. Felt tip pens are quite difficult. Alcohol markers are slightly easier, but a felt tip pen is a really good way of, sorry, a Posca pen, acrylic paint marker is the best way. I'm assuming that paint would probably work just as well. Now see, I'm going in the other direction, and you'll be able to see that that's two different directions. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sharpen my pencil. Sharper pencils are better. I'm going to go back over and tidy up and try and make it all look like a solid colour. Yes, so Posca paint markers are the best, but you sometimes still have to do more than one layer, because if you're colouring like this, how I'm doing now, this up and down, then sometimes you can leave a tiny gap where you haven't coloured, and that bit of white paper will show through, so it looks stripy. So you might have to go back and cover those areas, but you have to wait for it to dry. I've had a mixed success with them, to say. So can you see, just by putting a second layer down, it looks absolutely fine. So I'm going to go back across with another layer. How are we doing for time? 21. I don't want to bore you all silly by doing this on camera. I'm actually going to stop the camera. I've only got one blip of battery left, so I'm going to stop the camera, finish this and come back and do the final touches. Right, I have done a second layer here. It isn't perfect. I could have done a third. I could have used some blending solution blenders like I spoke about, but I decided to just leave it. Oh, you could also use blending pen. There are Derwent do blending pens with solution in, which are lovely fun. I've got one actually. Now, the last bit we have is this line here, and I've been trying to think about what to do with this. I'm thinking I could do it in a black pen. That has been a possibility. A dark grey, a blue. Now I've got stardust and metallic. I was thinking what I might do is grab one of these more coppery metallic pens. I think that one, but I'm going to just try it out on a bit of scrap paper. Yeah, I'm going to use this pen. So it'd just be a bit different. This is number 517. It hasn't got much in, but I think it's got enough. Cross your fingers for me, and I'm just going to pop it in here. Now, these particular gel pens don't seem to go through the page in Johanna's books, thankfully, but there are some pens that do. So it's a really, really good idea to test your pen out on the page at the back, designed for testing out your pens and pencils. Also, if you have this book, you may find it's printed on different paper to mine. You probably guessed my battery went dead. Yes, what was I saying? I know I said a lot of people before the battery went dead, but what was I going to say? Oh yes, a lot of people don't realise that the Johanna Basford books are printed on different paper depending on where you buy it from. That glare from that light is big. Let's come in, it'll get darker, there we go. So if you are living in France, for example, you're well done for understanding my English. Assuming you're French or not English, you may have your book printed on a very different paper to my book. Even in USA, the book paper can vary between USA and UK, so it's worth bearing that in mind when you are just testing out your pens and things. Don't assume that because it's working in my book and not bleeding through the back of the page, which I'm assuming it's not, I haven't checked, then don't assume that that's going to be the same for you, because it very much may not be. It's very dependent on the paper. So people will say to me, what's the paper like in the book? And I'm like, well, I can only speak for the UK copy, not for every copy. And the same it happens with other illustrators too. For example, I've got some foreign Maria Trolle books, some foreign Hannah Carlson books, and the paper is different to the ones that I've got that were UK edition. I haven't got the same book in both, so it might just be that because it's a more modern book or an older book, it's got different paper. But anyway, it's just, you know, if you want to know what the paper is like in the book in the country that you buy from, then ask someone who lives in that country, basically. Right, I'm almost done. I'm just going to grab the Cobalt Blue Deep and sharpen it. I've noticed a bit where I've missed a bit before I finish. I'm just being fussy. Around this little plant here, there's a lot of white where I didn't colour right up to the pot. And it's the same here and here around the windows. So I'm just, as I often say, tidying up a little bit, filling in some spaces. You probably can't even see it. It's just come out a tad so you can see the whole page. A little bit more maybe. I'm trying to straighten it up. There we go. I'm turning it the wrong way. Yeah. So there is our completed page. It's really different. It's not how I expected it to look when I planned it. And by the way, the pen is shiny. Look, I've turned my light out because it was glowing up here and you couldn't see any colour. You couldn't see that there was any colour at the top here. Yes, so there is our page. So thank you so much for watching, and if you coloured along, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll be back with something. I've got a pile of books to go through, so I'll be back with something else tomorrow. But for now, thank you so much. Have a super day and happy colouring.